happened to you as a result of making these revelations?
Oh, yes. I probably am a dead man already.
30 years ago today, black Muslim leader Malcolm X was shot to death as he was about to address a rally at the Audubon Ballroom in Harlem. He was 39 years old. One of his bodyguards and two other men were convicted and imprisoned for the murder. But there are still questions about who was behind the assassination. Joining me here in the studio is Jack Baxter. He directed the film Brother Minister, The Assassination of Malcolm X. And Wilbert Tatum is publisher and editor-in-chief of the Amsterdam News, the nation's largest and oldest black newspaper. Thank you both for being with us. We couldn't have two more interesting guests right now. Let me ask you this, Jack Baxter. You've just produced a film. You've been the director of this film. It's been your product. You've written it. You've brought it out. Who killed Malcolm X?
One of the assassins who was caught on the scene, Thomas Hayer, gave an affidavit to William Kunstler in 1977 where he named his Confederates in the crime. 4 other individuals who came out of Newark, New Jersey in the Patterson area, and those are the people who we say did the crime.
And who are they confederated with? Who was their boss?
Well, they were, you must understand that within the Nation of Islam in those days, one did not have to give a specific order in order for someone to get hit.
What had to be said?
It just could be somebody should take care of something. And the FBI was aware of the threats going back and forth.
You mean like Louis Farrakhan saying he deserves death?
Louis Farrakhan was not, even though he was the spokesman who was speaking out most against Malcolm X, who was his friend, there were others within the Nation of Islam, high-ranking level people who had more power than he did.
Let's look at it. Jack, what you were alluding to, and I want you to say it if I'm getting it right, that what happens sometimes in crimes, political crimes, assassinations, is that people who are violently inclined or able to commit a crime hear from above a message that comes to them like Henry II saying, well, no one rid me of this meddlesome priest, which was the case of Becket, Thomas Becket, who was assassinated by people who were operating not under orders, but under influence. Yes. Now, tell me what you think happened in this case.
Well, what I believe happened was that...
And bring in the role of the FBI if you think there is a role there.
When Malcolm X spoke out against the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and brought out the fact that he had sired, that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had sired children by his secretaries and then had kicked out those secretaries out of the Nation of Islam and brought that into the American public and was very public about speaking about that he created. You have to understand that within the Nation of Islam, Elijah Muhammad was considered the messenger of Allah. He was divine. And
he was on the same level as the Muhammad of the 6th century.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, when someone who's a leader says this other man is a traitor, or this was obviously, this was, by the way, a quote, we must make this clear. The statement we just saw on that tape, that performance by Louis Farrakhan was after the crime.
Right. In the film, we do have a very rare piece of footage that the American public has never seen, where Malcolm X says that Elijah Muhammad has given the order to his followers to see that I am crippled or killed.
Right.
Malcolm, but he also said that there were other forces that were out to get him. Now, you have to understand that within the Nation of Islam, there was a guy, and we talk about him extensively in the film, who was at the high ranks of the Nation of Islam, who was an FBI informant. Now, he probably was a double or a triple agent going back and forth between Elijah Muhammad and the FBI.
Well, what interested the FBI, which is basically a conservative, even some people would say a right-wing organization by its nature, it's a control organization, it's a disciplinary, it keeps the country in line. Why would they harbor a fugitive? Why would they collaborate in either the protection of somebody they didn't like, or why would they get involved in this case in the first place? I mean, obviously, Malcolm X was a radical figure. He was a leader. He was a figure that always scares the establishment. Why was that what the FBI's role in this? They were just out to get him. They were collaborating in his assassination.
They wanted to destroy, or I should say, neutralize any organization, not just the Nation of Islam, but the Ku Klux Klan, the John Birch Society, any organization that would stick its head up and say something radical or
any insurgency.
Any insurgency, no matter whether they were black or white organizations. And they
Mr.
would.
Tatum?
I think you're being charitable here.
Legal issue going on right now as your film comes out. Oftentimes this happens. The film comes out and there's a news story, which is the Qabil Shabazz arrest for involvement in a possible attempt to try to kill Louis Farrakhan. How does that fit into your film scenario?
Well, I can tell you that we opened up on January 11th. On January 12th, the indictment came down against Qabil, which is, I mean, there's no way I can explain it other than, you know, sometimes I think that perhaps the FBI, knowing the information that's chronicled within Brother Minister about the COINTEL program and,
right,
and all of that, that perhaps knowing that information, perhaps the timing of the indictment is such that the FBI wants to distance themselves from the J. Edgar Hoover administration and to show African-American people, Minister Farrakhan, the members of the Nation of Islam, that they're under new management now and that they will protect Minister Farrakhan no matter how they feel about his politics and religion.
Of course.